put that you go really far in the playoff, maybe it's possible you reconsider your decision to go out of the game?
No. We can win a championship, and it wouldn't change my thinking. I've come to grips with that. My gut basically has said this is it, and I'm going to go with that.
Michael, your thoughts on the young guys, Allen and T-Mac, offering to let you start?
I think it's truly a good thing. It's a respect for the elders, if you want to look at it in that sense. I would have done it easily because I think that sometimes you have to pay respects to the bridge or the gap from one era to the next, and even if the individual don't accept it, it's just a good gesture for them to do that. And I think just to come up with that idea shows respect for the game, not just to Michael Jordan, but for the game, and the reason that I wouldn't accept it and I don't want to accept it is because I think it says a lot for them to go out and live up to what the people expect of them, which is why they were voted as starting five, and I'd rather for it to happen that way because I think that's the chain of change. I mean, that's how things happen. That's how change happens. And I don't want to break that chain. I've had my chance to start 13 years. The 14th year, I'm not going to lose sleep about. I feel good that, that I've been there long enough to see that the fans want to see something else, and that doesn't bother me. That doesn't offend me. I think that's how the game continues to live and survive and progress. So I would want them to take that progression and move further with it because they're going to be in the same boat somewhere down the road. And some young kids probably want to do the same for them somewhere down the road. And I don't know what their feelings would be about it, but I would rather for them to pass it along just like I'm passing along.
Michael, Rick Haas, Associated Press Television. When you came into the league, you'd be hard-pressed to find a dozen foreign players.
Where are you first?
I'm sorry, I'm over here.
Okay.
When you came into the league, you'd be hard-pressed to find a dozen foreign players participating in the league, in the NBA, and you have 12 participating in AllStar weekend this weekend. What does that say? I mean, they're playing not only participating in the league, but playing at the league's highest level. You see what Dirk's doing, what Yao's doing, Pau. What does that say about the league and its expansion in your era? And if you could also comment on the fact that a lot of these players who I've talked to this weekend have said that you had a lot to do with the fact that they wanted to play basketball.
Well, I think you commend David Stern for the expansion and globalization of basketball, along with, obviously, my talents, Magic Johnson's talent, Larry Bird, all the guys prior to me and with me, also, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, those guys. David expanded it to where European players understood the competition, the glamour that came along with it, just the experience of playing against the best. The dream team fell in place to where now they got the chance to see it firsthand. 12 of some of the 11 out of the 12 greatest players, not counting Christian Laettner. I mean, he was a young kid. And they got the chance to see those guys in competition and understand, the level of play. And then the guys, I think the European players saw it as an opportunity. Let's go over and experience this. I think we gave them the initiative to say, well, they want to be one of the best. And I think because of the way the league really expanded and opened its doors to European basketball, global basketball, gave them an opportunity to come over and see what if, along with them seeing the Michael Jordans and the Magic Johnson, David Robinson, these type of guys. So, I mean, as much as it's been, myself, as an endorser of NBA basketball, it's been, David Stern for opening up the doors and understanding how to market the league to where the European and Asian or globally guys want to come and play at the highest level.
Mr. Jordan, basketball magazine from Croatia, Europe. How did you feel when national team of USA lost 3 games at the World Championship or day from home court?
I mean, obviously, I was disappointed. I think that I like to see the United States maintain its dominance of basketball globally. Just because I think that the game originated. I think, I know it originated in Canada, but it was perfected in the States, and it's our game. And no one likes to see our game being taken away from us and being dominated by someone else. But I think what it did is it made us realize that the European, or, globally, guys are catching up. Well, if we take them for granted, they will be caught up. And I think that the next games you'll see our best players playing because of that, that respect of getting that we have to get back because of the loss, And so in essence, the loss may be something of grateful, may have helped us, that we come back to reality and say, we got to constantly stay focused on working on our game here in the States. And if we don't, then, globally, we're going to lose the handle of it.
Michael, now that you are nearing the end, how do you expect to look back and evaluate your legacy at some point? And what do you hope that you will have left the basketball world?
I want to be the bridge to the next generation, obviously. I played with Dr. J. I played against Dr. J at the time that he was bridging his era along with Magic and Larry, to my generation, or to my era. And I guess I have an obligation to the game is to bridge it to the next, and how I want to be perceived as a guy who played all facets and best. He played his best in all facets of the game, not just scoring. I mean, obviously my records are going to be from an offensive standpoint, but I think I like people understand that I play defense. I help players better. I won championships. I came from, a team that wasn't, or a franchise that wasn't successful, and got it to a point where it was very successful. So, I mean, all these factors I like to be remembered as a part of my legacy, and a guy who truly loved the game, loved to take challenges, always against the odds. People said he couldn't do anything. He said he could, or he just believed in the unknown that no matter what, he chased it, and I'm not saying everything good happened to him. Some bad things happened, but he always was able to rise above the bad things. So, I mean, I just want to be remembered in that way as a hell of a competitor that never gave up on anything.
Michael, over here. Milton Kemp from the Baltimore Sun. Over here.
Where?
Right here. Before your arrival, the game was pretty much dominated by the center position and the low post position. Now it's pretty much a guard-oriented or forward-oriented game. Two questions. One, do you feel sort of responsible for that? And do you feel after you leave, the game will go back to being dominated in the post?
Well, I mean, I disagree with you a little bit. I think, yes, prior to me, I think it was a big man's game. And I think prior to me, the game started to change. The versatility aspect came into the game. Magic Johnson playing multi-positions, Larry Bird playing multi-positions. And then myself, Scottie Pippen, Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley, we all expanded on that versatility. And where the game is today, I wouldn't say it's guard-oriented. I think it's more versatile players. I think European players or players from other countries are at a point now they can play multi-positions. It can give a coach a lot of different, looks. So what I am an example of is versatility. A guy can play multi-positions. I wouldn't say I originated that. I think Magic Johnson, even Oscar Robertson back in his day, originated. We more or less brought it into focus, made it an impact situation to where you could change the outcome of a game. And Magic changed the outcome of a game with the Lakers when, he could play the center position, the small forward, power forward, point guard position, and still win with it. And everybody after him and Larry expanded it or brought it more into fruition, made it, a common thing. What every general manager looks for now is that type of versatility. So I won't take that credit. I think it was there before me. I guess with the success that I've had, brought it into focus even greater.
Just with the All-Star game, a lot of people this weekend have been talking about things you've done in All-Star games, whatever. Do you have any recollections or memories that stand out for you of past All-Star games?
The The game in New York is the game that I love the most, is because when you have a star-studded, talented situation, I was able to move the ball around. I was able to get a triple-double. You know, when most guys want to see an offensive outpour of scoring, you know, I believe in all facets of the game, and I felt like my impact could be made in different areas instead of just offense. That was truly my best All-Star experience, where I was able to do all facets of the game and showcase it amongst talented players. Sure, I scored 40 in Chicago. I mean, but that was a scoring output. That was what everybody can always attribute to Michael Jordan anyway, his scoring capabilities. But what I want, to be added as a memory is that I played all facets of the game, in terms of rebounding, defense, assists, whatever. And that game, to me, illustrated that amongst, all the talented players in the league.
Given your competitive history with you and Isiah, could you talk about being coached by him in your final All-Star game and what your relationship has evolved to?
I mean, it's ironic. I think that in our first experience, unbeknownst to me, was a wedge or ill feelings between the two of us. Until after the All-Star game, I understood, or I heard through the press, that it was some animosity there. And I never knew that until then. And from that point on, we were kind of off the same level. I didn't know him that well, but yet I wasn't happy with the way that supposedly he responded to me coming to my first All-Star game. And I can't speak for him, but obviously if that was true, what he said, or what he did, then he didn't care for me. And I think over the years where, we have competed in competitive environments where, it wasn't much love, a lot of hate, we were able to go against each other. And I think also what was earned in that process is mutual respect. That when you look at our basketball talents, Isiah Thomas can play the game of basketball at the highest level. Michael Jordan can play the game of basketball at the highest level. That became a common denominator in our relationship. That's where the respect was earned. Since then, we have had dialogue, conversations, and I think beginning of a friendship has established. Now, are you saying that we're best of friends? No, because we hadn't really gotten to that level. Are we mutual friends? Yes, with the sense of respect for where we play the game of basketball. And yes, we've had some time when we've spent some time away from, that environment. I would say right now we are friends, and a friendship that it will grow because we have distanced ourselves from that type of competition. And I think we've gotten past what was thrown into the mix, from from when I first met him. So Sam, I would say we're friends, and with a lot of high respect for our basketball skills, and hopefully that our friendship will continue to grow. Will I ever be best friends with him? I can't honestly say that. I imagine he would say the same, but I think we would be at a friendship to a point where we could, we can be in the same company and have dialogue about, certain things. And it is ironic that, on my last All-Star game, we've come complete circle, from the first All-Star game. And I think that's something good. I mean, it's a story that no one, thought would happen, but yet when you look at it, I like to leave the game with a certain respect and a certain friendship that, no one can say, well, I mean, it just got off to a bad start, but yet, I have high respect for Isiah Thomas. And I don't wish bad things on him. I don't hate him, and I just want what's best for him. And I imagine he wants what's best for me. And the best way to do that is to go out, coach player, ironically. And, that's how I've chronologically understood our relationship over the years. And, I do not hate the individual. I don't know him that well to hate him.
Time for two final questions right here. And go back to the slide.
Okay, Michael. David Squires, blackvoices.com, Chicago. We've heard from Magic and Charles Barkley on this topic. Could you discuss any aspirations or possibilities that you might have in the 40-man's game of politics?
The 40-man game.
40-year-old man's game of politics.
40-year-old man game of politics. politics in what sense? In terms
As
of
a
running for
elected
office?
office. And would it be Washington, Illinois, or North Carolina?
Let me tell you, all those guys, we all got damage in our closets. And we all can come to grips with that and then go and live in political world or chase that political dream. You know, I support that candidate that's going to do that. Me personally, I have no aspirations politically. You know, if they do, I wish them the best. You know, obviously they're going to be judged on the merits that they are preaching and they're standing for. I wouldn't expect them to be standing on what they have accomplished in the sports arena. You know, and I think that the public is not fooled in that sense. You know, but I don't condemn those guys. As long as they believe in what they believe in and they're willing to step forward and believe in that, I wish them the best. I have no aspirations politically at all. I've heard Charles talk about governor, and I heard Magic talk about mayor. You know, I wish them the best, and obviously they know what they have to, what stands in front of them in the fight, and I wish them the best.
Last question on the side.
Greg Amonte, ESPN. Michael, what do you make of some of these extreme outbursts or example of player rage that we've seen lately? Are you concerned about stuff like that?
I think we all are concerned in terms of against each other as well as against the referees. And coaches go the same way. I mean, obviously, Jerry Sloan responded that it wasn't something that anybody wants to endorse. I mean, but it's going to have to be a combination of factors. Used to be the referees, you can go and you can talk to them and communicate with them and ask them about a certain thing or even question certain things. And it's the manner that you do that, I think that they respond, efficiently to. I think everything's got out of whack since then. The players are more demonstrative in terms of how they respond. The referees are all trying to get respect. They wear the small, tight T-shirts and look like they want to be dominant in terms of some standing their force. And the coaches want to persuade the referees to look at their view of how they view situation. Somehow you got to come to a happy medium, and if we don't, then obviously it's going to leave a bad image on the league. Spoiled brats, arguing with guys who want to be macho and want to be a part of the picture and they're not, and along with the coaches trying to influence. It's bad right now. And what the league is trying to do is try to penalize each and every act. But when you talk about fining, millionaires a certain amount of money, sometimes that's not always the best case scenario. I think the players have to take approach in that you got to play the game no matter how you look at it. These are three individuals out there just trying to keep order. They're not going to make every call right, and the referee's going to have to look at it as they're not a part of the show. They are a part of the show, but they're not a part of the show in a sense. You're not going to get, shoe endorsements. You're not going to get any kind of lucrative deals just because you're the referee. The fans don't pay to see the referees. So they're going to have to bring their ego down. Players going to have to bring their egos down, and the coach is certainly going to have to do the same. That's the only way you're going to solve the issue. Right now it's totally out of control. Until all three parties come together and try to bring down the emotion a little bit, it's going to be, something that's going to always, going to be a case that can blow up in your face. Now, I have different methods in terms of how I deal with the referees, and, I do it respectfully. I do it in a way that you don't embarrass the referees. If you see me when I'm talking to the referees, if I have something that may be misconstrued by a word that people can hear or see, I put my shirt over my mouth and I say it. As long as the referee feels like they're not getting embarrassed or bringing the whole arena down on them, I think they respond well. But if you're going to do it in a way that's going to embarrass them, they got to respond. They got the power of the whistle, and they know that. And when you got those two types of things that can bust the game or break a game or bring focus to the game that we don't want to bring focus to the game, there's going to have to be some give and take, on both sides. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
All right.
This concludes the press conference. A transcript of this will be available on Media Central.